Hello everybody. I'm doing two videos on getting dressed and undressed. The first video, which is this one, is going to be about clothing and which items of clothing are going to be best for your child. And the second video is going to focus on the actual support that you can give your child. So if your child can get dressed and undressed quite confidently by themselves, then you can just watch this video and find out which items of clothing are going to be best for when they start nursery or reception. And if your child does need some support still to get dressed or undressed, then you can move on to the second video and see my tips and suggestions for supporting your child. Okay, so the first item of clothing I'm going to start with is trousers. Now, trousers tend to come either with an elasticated waistband with a button at the front, or with a metal clasp that you do up. I would say that it would be best for you to buy the ones that have got the elasticated waistband in, especially if your child's just starting to get themselves dressed by themselves. This is because it's just easier for them to pull up and down. They haven't got to think about doing the clasp. The clasps and the buttons need good fine motor skills and hand-eye coordination. So if your child is new to getting dressed and undressed by themselves, then it's probably a good idea to give them one less thing to think about just for now. A lot of the trousers that you can get now have buttons in each side, so that if you have a look on them, they've got an elastic band, so you can pull the elastic band off the button, pull it to adjust it to the right size for your child, and then pop it back on the button, and it will just bring in the waist so that it's the right size. So these ones are preferable, and the same goes for skirts as well. Skirts tend to have the elasticated waistband anyway, but just have a look in them, because some people don't realise that there are the buttons and the elastic band in there to adjust the waistband. So just have a look out for that. Dresses are a bit like trousers. There's three styles really. There's either the dresses that you put on over the top of the head, there's the dresses that have the zip up the front, and there's dresses that have buttons down the front as well. And the same advice goes for dresses as I've just given for the trousers. If your child is really good at getting themselves dressed and undressed, then you can go for the buttons maybe, and you can get them practicing the buttons. But if they are new to getting themselves dressed and undressed, then I would go for either the ones that go on over the head or the zip ones. Now, the zip dresses are obviously different to zipping up a coat, because the two bottom bits of the zip are already stuck together, so they don't have to work out how to fit those together. It's just a simple zip up or zip down to get on or off. So go for either one that goes over the head or have a zip one. And like I say, if they are really, really good, if they've got good fine motor control and you think they're ready for the buttons, then by all means give them a dress that has buttons. But if they're new, then go for the easier option. We want them, if your child is new to getting dressed, then we want to make it as easy as possible for them to start off with. And as they get better, they can have items of clothing that have got a little bit more complex actions required to put them on. Jumpers and t-shirts are a little bit more complicated to put on, but obviously I'll talk about that in the second video. We have a jumper that has the school emblem on the front, and this can be purchased from the school website. There should be a link on the website for you to do that. And you can also buy these from, I think from Tesco's still. You can order them and have the badge embroidered on. The same goes for t-shirts. T-shirts are just a plain white polo shirt. You can wear white cotton shirts as well if you want to, the short sleeve white cotton shirts. It doesn't need to have the emblem on the badge for the shirt. You can just go to somewhere like John Lewis or Marks and Spencer's, or even the supermarkets, Tesco's, and just get their plain white shirt. The same with the trousers as well. You don't have to go and get them from the school uniform shop. You can go to places like Tesco's and Primark, anywhere that has grey trousers, but they are grey trousers and skirt. Shoes, if possible, try buy shoes that are easy for your child to take on and off. So if your child is new to doing things by themselves, being a bit independent, then go for slip-ons, but ones that come all the way up the foot, not ballet pumps, or Velcro. You can, for the girls tend to wear boots in the winter, and boys sometimes as well, and they tend to have the zip up the side, and these are okay as long as your child's used to putting them on and off, but avoid laces unless your child is used to doing laces already, because it's a complex series of actions that they need to be able to do to tie the lace, and if their fine motor skills aren't quite developed yet, they're going to find that tricky. And some children don't learn to tie their laces till they're about 7 years old, so go for easy to put on shoes. But I'm going to go back to the ballet pumps. Ballet pumps look really, really pretty, and they look really, really nice, but they're not really practical for when they're running around the outside area. They quite often fall off, which means that the child's then running around the playground without the shoe on. They get wet very easily, so even if it's not actually raining, but there may be a couple of little puddles about, shallow puddles, it's still going to mean that your child's feet are getting wet. And so for those reasons, it's best to avoid putting your child in ballet pumps. Go for either a slip-on shoe that comes all the way up the foot, or the Velcro shoes, or for girls it could just be the shoes that are like from Clark's or other shops like Primark or something, that have got the tie over the foot. I hope you know what I mean. They're sort of like they come a little bit of a way up the foot, and then they've got a strap across the top of the foot that's either in a buckle or it's got a bit of Velcro on it to stop it from coming undone. Those shoes are perfectly acceptable as well, because they've got something to keep the shoe on the foot. Just not ballet pumps if possible, please. And I think that's it for clothing. We've done trousers, jumpers, t-shirts, we've done shoes, we've done skirts, dresses, socks and tights. If your child is wearing tights, then go for grey tights, please. Socks, it doesn't, unless it's a girl wearing socks and she's got a skirt on, then try and go for white or grey. But if not, then under trousers we're not going to see it always, so it doesn't matter what colour socks they wear. I think that's it for clothing. So if just make sure it's all labelled as well. I'll say that now. Make sure it's all labelled. Any item of clothing that's coming into nursery or coming into reception class, whether that be on your child or in a school bag as a spare clothes or PE kit, just make sure it's named, because things go missing all the time. And if there are no names in your child's clothes, then they're going to get mixed up. There is no doubt about it. All the children's jumpers look the same, the school shirts look the same, the school skirts look the same, sometimes even the shoes and the coats look the same. So I cannot stress enough how important it is to make sure that every item of clothing is named. This can be with a sticky label, it could be with a Sharpie marker, it could even be with a biro on a label somewhere within the clothing. If a child's item of clothing goes missing, we do search in all the available areas to make sure there's not a name in there somewhere. So Yeah, I hope that was helpful. And if you need support, or if your child is new to getting dressed, then follow on to video 2 and I will explain how you can support your child in doing that. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.